Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Demetrius Johnson, and you're listening to MMALatestNews.com.
It's time to roll, baby.
Yes, everybody, welcome back to the beautiful kingdom of Bahrain. You might go, why are you standing outside, lads? Well, we'll tell you why we're standing outside. There's a bit of a closing party going off in there, and the music's too loud for you to hear us. So outside of the car park we are, but it's not a bad view.
Could be worse.
Could be worse.
We've been to a few leisure centres, haven't we, where you wouldn't be able to record that one outside.
Very true. I mean, this is, do you know what? For amateur MMA, it must be said, 10 years ago, amateur MMA consisted of a couple of guys, couple of mats, couple of school chairs in a sports hall arena of some sort, which is probably used for some sort of like play activities with kids the next day. It's such a refreshing change to have an arena, an opening ceremony, a closing ceremony, medal ceremonies that are so well produced, so well organised, and actually so professional despite the fact that they are technically amateur.
Yeah, well, absolutely. You know, when you come to the Kingdom of Bahrain, this is the third year IMMAF have been here. You know you're going to get a professional show. You know you're going to get the top production levels. You know that you're going to get a good crowd, a buzzing crowd. And it's always a spectacle, no matter what. You saw those VTs in there, just absolutely incredible.
The level of production is second to none in the amateur scene. The level of intensity and the skill levels that are being on display is also second to none. We're going to get into that in a very, very short second, because the level of skill from the last time I was at the World Championships 2 years ago has taken probably a couple of steps up.
You've missed a few big changes, my friend.
Yeah, I have. There's people now that are taking the amateur route extremely seriously. I mean, you look at the faces of some of those that was on the medal podiums today. They're grizzled veteran faces. Yeah. These are people with 15, 20, 30 fights under their belt at amateur level. That just plain and simply didn't exist 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? 15 years ago, forget about it. I don't even think people went amateur, went cage fighter, sound, let's have it. 10 years ago, 5 years ago, people would have had 2, 3 tune-up fights in those sports halls that we were talking about. Now there is a circuit. It's regional, it's on a world scale, and it is world-class facilities, and it is world-class administration, and it is a world-class competition. So anybody that's wearing a medal around their neck, no matter the colour that it is there today, has put in a world-class performance. And I am very excited for some of these names now have to be in the professional MMA circuit, and I can't wait, because in 5 years' time, every single champion, I think, of every big organisation is going to have tasted this today on some level. Yeah. Whether that was the Pan Americans, whether that's the Asians, Europeans, the Africans, or the worlds, someone somewhere in their career will have tasted this IMMAF pathway. And the IMMAF pathway for me is so good because it lets you know exactly where you stand on a world level. Now today, we have to talk about Russia.
Absolutely.
Yesterday we give Kazakhstan a lot of love because what they're doing is mightily impressive, and I still stand by every single word that we said yesterday. What Kazakhstan is doing is refreshing, and every single big organisation needs to start signing a raft of Kazakhstani fighters because they're fantastic. But what did we see today?
Team Russia taking 5 gold medals, the highest tally of any country today. Bahrain just behind them with 4, but Russia dominating in the matches, dominating in the medals podium, and looking strong out there as well. Every single time you see a Russian step into the cage, you pretty much know what you're going to get. You're going to get a strong performance, some very good wrestling, and of course, most likely a winning performance as well.
I'm just trying to read this really quickly. I think there was at least 4, but there might have been 5 all Russian finals today. So Russia was guaranteed most of those golds coming into today, and they picked up an extra couple on the way with them as well. Sensational performance from Russia. Sensational. Who's going to knock Russia off the top spot in the world of MMA? Because let's be honest, this is Russia's world and everybody else is just living in it.
Well, you might as well ask me, how long's a piece of string? Why is the sky blue? Because right now there is no answers. Nobody knows how to solve that Russian problem. You know, every team that's coming here...
Well, it's only a problem if you're not Russian.
Well, exactly, exactly. But take Megan Morris, for example. You know, big past in the juniors, a gold medal. She's came here, one of the favourites, first round, albeit not a Russian. She lost to a Kazakhstani fighter. And all of these big fighters that are being produced in the UK, in the USA, Italy, Sweden, they're struggling against the Russians. And yes, they can all work on their wrestling. That's what everybody thinks the answer is. Go home, work on your wrestling. But so far, that hasn't provided a solution. So I don't know,
Even some of the Russians didn't have an answer for Russian wrestling.
Yeah.
So How are you going to compete with that? I honestly don't know. It's fascinating.
What's even funnier as well is most people think they're just wrestlers.
Oh, no.
But then you see them strike, and it's just as terrifying.
No. If you think that they're just coming in a singlet with ear guards, no. They're coming with a very well-rounded game. I can't imagine what Russian team training looks like. Now, I know that they have a national championship, which is used to select the team that comes. Now, other nations, and England especially, we're going to point the finger and scrutinise you because that's where we live. So, England, you've got to step your game up. If you think you're going to compete with these guys on the international circuit, you have to replicate what they're doing on a national level. There has to be some sort of competitive championships where we select people, because it pains me to say the England teams are turn up, pay your money, represent England, and that should not be the case. That should not be the case. If you want to represent England at a World Championships, the level of this, like we said, it's world class. There should be selection. There should be minimum requirements, and there should be rankings and a committee that selects anyone.
But we know ourselves, being in that circuit, that there are fighters that could hang. They could, and this is no disrespect, because the fighters that have come to this championship, albeit they haven't been able to really do well on the medals podium, have held their own. They've done decent. They've done okay. Christian Leroy Duncan, Lexi Rook, Melissa Mullins, Megan Morris. Unfortunately, she went out. But they've represented themselves with pride. But I do agree with you, and I think that's what the English MMA Federation, the association, that's what they want to do, is they want to start building back home, building that grassroots and creating a proper progression scheme.
It's got to be a culture, I think. Yeah. It's got to be a culture of becoming used to the competition.
We've got to come
used to
here
the
to
competition on a national scale, and then used to elite competition on a world scale. Now, they did pick up 2 golds in the juniors, nowhere to be seen in the seniors, and that isn't acceptable, I don't think. Someone has to answer to why that is the case and look to improve that. And I know there's a lot of real good people involved with English MMA Association, IMMA, and I know that them guys are working extremely hard, and it's brand new in terms of an organisation. So I'm not. This isn't a dig at anybody involved. This is a come on, let's get stuck in and let's try and compete with these, because how much pride would you have seeing what we've just seen back to back Russian national anthems and gold medals given? How good would that feel to see English MMA doing that?
I'd absolutely love to keep standing up for God Save the Queen, Absolutely love it.
And I will also say, big up to Bahrain. Yes, we're in the Kingdom of Bahrain. Brilliant hosts, as we said, fantastic production and facilities that we've been treated to out here. The administration of these tournaments is outrageously professional. But Bahrain picked up 4 gold medals today.
Yeah, they did. And
it's a tiny little island.
they're holding their own. I mean, a few years ago, you only have to look at where they were in the actual national rankings and wasn't even in the top 20. And now they're arguably the number 1 in the world. So they've done what they needed to do to create that progression, to create that kind of gold medal mentality. Sheikh Khalid, he is kind of the leader, the idol that they all look to for,
that's what you all want,
for that. Yeah,
someone absolutely minted, royal family ideally, who loves the sport and is willing to spend on it and willing to push it in where he's from. Now, if any sport had that, no matter the country, they're going to do well, and the proof is in the pudding of what we see here with Bahrain. The guy walks his team out to the cage. The guy carries a spit bucket. The guy is as invested as MMA. No one would have been surprised if he'd have just put his money in and gone and sat in the VIP seats. They'd have been sound, oh yeah, he supports it. No, this guy supports it. This guy supports it on a whole other level. They trained in his private gym at KHJ. Yeah. He walks the guys out. He's the first there to give them a hug, to congratulate, to commiserate the ones that haven't won. So massive respect. And thanks, actually, to Sheikh Khalid for putting on this event, because this is outrageous, like we said. But there's only one performance that I think stands out today.
Oh, yeah?
She stood out yesterday.
She stood out again today.
And she stood out again today. I think because we've seen such a well-matched competition today, so many Russia versus Russia, etc., all the way through, we've not really seen that real bloodthirsty sort of knockouts. Now, she was facing a fellow countryman, but she still went and got the finish, and that is Michele Montagu. Talk to me about that.
Well, Michele Montagu faced Mel Webster, 2 New Zealanders. We saw the hacker, the high energy that the hacker brings, so you're going to get a good fight. And both girls delivered, and it was Michele Montagu who takes the win. First round armbar. She looked good the other day with the guillotine choke. She looks even better today with that armbar. And this girl, everybody thinks she's just a striker. Her background's actually wrestling, and she's moving towards the...
It's judo. Is it judo?
And wrestling. She's looking to compete in the Olympic wrestling team.
Oh, go on.
For New Zealand. Zealand. So, you know, she's doing tremendous.
And as we said yesterday, with no disrespect at all, Michelle, she's a big girl.
She is.
She's a tall girl. She's a strong girl. She's very well built. I think she's going to be a nightmare. Do you see her future going into the pro at probably featherweight? She's competing at lightweight at the moment.
Let's be honest, in the pro ranks, lightweight is pretty non-existent unless you're going to go to a PFL or an organisation like that, maybe even a One Championship or a Brave. But if she wants to hang with the likes of the UFC, the Bellator MMAs, then it's going to have to be featherweight. But let's see, very promising future for her.
Oh, I don't know when she's turning pro. I don't think anyone spoke to her about what her plans are besides going to the Olympics. So I would think it's probably very realistic to expect she'll go to the Olympics and could quite conceivably turn pro on the back end of that. But she could quite conceivably compete in the Worlds again following the Olympics next year and then turn pro. And who won't want to see her win back-to-back world titles?
Definitely, and I think, you know, we saw Gay Sanita, a fellow New Zealander. She did that back-to-back worlds. Will Michele Montagu be the next from the Kiwi Islands to do that?
I'd be putting money on it, to be honest. If she turns up, I think you're going to have to go a long way to find someone that can beat her.
Absolutely.
But right, listen, thank you very much. Hope you've enjoyed our little bit of coverage here from the Kingdom of Bahrain and the IMMAF 2019 World Championships. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, get any comments or questions in below, and we'll see you in the next one. Later.